He's got the car working so incredibly well. I think Hamilton obviously will have something to say about that, and also I think Zuber, who's on the front row today, was very quick yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think if those two, Hamilton and Piquet, get involved in a scrap, Zuber is probably the next favourite to pick up a win today. He got third fastest lap behind those two, and was really on form. So he looks good as well.
Now that's slightly discounting the man on pole, Sandy Negrão, but there might be a good reason for discounting him.
Yes, he's the last two poles he's stalled on the grid, so.
Not good news for him. Ready to go for the sprint race here in Istanbul. Cars just coming onto the grid, all 26 cars ready to start. Sandy Negrão on pole and Jez Zuber alongside him. Piquet Sport on pole with Nelson Piquet for the feature race, with Sandy Negrão from 8th in race 1 taking pole. There are the AR team. The two teams, Piquet Sport and AR team. AR team can now not be beaten in the teams championship. They've got that under their belt already for the second year in a row, but now it's all about the driver's title. 5 red lights go on as soon as Charlie Whiting switches them off. Away they go. Good start from Andreas Zuber, slow away, but no stall from Sandy Negrão. As you predicted, Gareth, Zuber might be the man here, but look at Adam Carroll coming around the outside. Can he make it on safely? Yes, he gets alongside Negrão. Well, nobody facing backwards in the first corner. You can already see, though, that one of the ART cars has been eased a little further down the order, and I think Piquet has moved up. There is Sandy Negrão in second, Adam Carroll in third place, Timo Glock perhaps in fourth, ahead of Ernesto. No, it's Viso ahead of Glock, I think.
I think Piquet and Hamilton are 6th and 7th, I would say, looking at that shot there.
In fact, it's not Viso. Viso's way down the back. So who is that in front of Timo Glock?
Looking at Piquet.
That's the championship leaders. Now, neither of them can afford an error here. Piquet saying after qualifying, they both know that it is really up against the head. Any mistake here in this race weekend could just throw away the championship title. There is Ernesto Viso down towards the tail of the field. He started 24th, but Adam Carroll having a real go at Sandy Negrão. Timo Glock behind him. Lucas de Grassi is next up, and that's Giorgio Pantano coming through the field. There is de Grassi in the Durango car, 5th place, Piquet 6th, Hamilton 7th as we saw, so it was Prema who lost out at the start. He's down in 9th, 10th place, there he is, trying to fight his way back past Luca Filippi. As Gareth tries to fight his way into the timing system, which is not holding up well. This is a great battle, wheel to wheel. Ferraz Fauzi there on the inside.
Viso trying to go on the outside.
Ooh, and again Prema being pushed out wide, losing ground. Zuber running away with this one. Sandy Negrão in second, Adam Carroll as Piquet moves inside de Grassi, the man who followed him as a Brazilian Formula 3 champion.
Freeway contact.
Oh, that was all was that Jason Tahinchi, who came down the inside, just couldn't hold it together, I think, and with Jose Maria Lopez.
Yeah, back in the Lopez looking inside of Prema there. I'd like to see Zuber start again. Hamilton spun.
Still got an engine. He has still got an engine. Oh my goodness me, that's really trusting a lot in other drivers. Now that is very dramatic indeed, and that almost guarantees that Nelson Piquet will be at least in with a chance of taking the championship lead away from here. He's alongside the number 7 iSport car, and that is Ernesto Viso. And that's how far back he's come from. Hamilton really in trouble here. Oh, Gareth, there is huge pressure now for the Englishman who has led this championship almost from the second race weekend onwards.
Yeah, that's difficult. I mean, obviously we haven't seen what happened there, but I presume he lost it on his own. He wasn't actually close enough to see. Here we are, we're in car with him now. Just gets away from him, just hits the curb, maybe just slightly too hard, just gets away from him. But the way he rejoined here, dear me, I was expecting a T-bone then.
Now this is Jason Tahinchi on the right of your picture, down the inside. Ooh, yeah. Dear, he was nearly a 4-car shunt, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He did his very best, and nearly got his teammate Pantano as well. Well, Piccioni's the man in the middle.
Yeah, to be fair, Philippe's giving nobody any room as he's going for the apex, even though with 2 cars inside him. So
yes, lap 1, first corner. I'm going for the apex. I shan't trouble the mirrors too much.
I think Piccioni was the only innocent party. Is Hamilton making his way back through the field? I think just with
this was the
Viso,
moment
isn't
with
he?
Viso. Look at that, how close.
It's actually pretty big contact.
Yeah. Luckily, Viso was going.
Fauzi slowed down. It's Fauzi. He's crawling along. So,
and let's go, Viso. How the brain works of that. See, now that's the difference between a racing driver and a driver who can just about cope with the car. Is that Viso somehow managed to sort all that data and got out of trouble.
Now, without the time screen, we can't
now
see exactly where Hamilton
really use the timing screen. I think that was Hernandez. That is Ferraz Fauzi in the pit lane. I think that was Adrian Hernandez he was behind there, and that is, well, Hernandez started 11th on the grid in the Durango car.
It's all over.
So here we go. Well, he's not in the points. They only go down to 6th place. Lucas Di Grassi. Piquet's only 5th. Hamilton making a move down the inside of Adrian Valles, it is, in fact.
Yeah, the point I was making as we saw Hamilton start his spin there was I'd like to see the start again. Zuber looked to have a cracker. It looked borderline jump start to me from the angle we were at, so I'd like to see it from another angle and just see that it was legal.
Touch of the clay Regazzoni's, you're saying?
maybe.
Although he didn't often jump from the front row. But there is certainly, well, certainly back in the 70s there was the thinking that if you weren't in the first 5 or 6 rows, you may as well go when you felt like it, because nobody would be watching anyway. Now, of course, electronics watch your every move. Zuber, Carroll, Glock, our top 3. Piquet up to 4th. We saw him move ahead of Di Grassi. There is Hamilton down the queue. We'll need the graphics to go over because our timing screen is refusing to work at all. Here we go. You get your wish. Watch Zuber.
No, just a great start. Just as soon as the lights went, the cracker.
Exacerbated by the fact that Sandy Negrão was still rolling a cigarette or something as the lights changed, because he really was very slow away. Right behind, look at that. Viso in a 4-way squeeze, just right at the back of the field, pushing with Jimmy Bruni on his outside, and in fact they slowed each other right up there. Here it comes. That was a big gaggle of cars. Lots of first lap action. Oh my goodness, how did he miss the DPR car?
He had a spin as well. Dear, he's an eventful race, or Viso, isn't he?
His onboard camera tape will be worth watching, and their insult to injury. The DPR car comes back with Lewis Hamilton now, thinking this is live. Oh, is that Pantano?
Yeah, it's a good move actually. Pantano to Hinchey maybe.
Or to Hinchey. Oh, that now there was a car on the outside there though, with marshals working on it. Yeah. Surely there would have been yellow flags. Right on the outside of that corner. I can't believe there wouldn't have been yellows there. Well, that's something that we can probably only find out at the end of the race. Hamilton just going through frame there. And which of the two is that? That's hard to tell. That's Vitaly Petrov. Now, it may well have been Petrov that spun earlier on that we saw on board with Viso. And here's Hamilton. Didn't get the job done entirely, did he? Oh, goodness me. Monfordini. So that previous onboard was at least a lap earlier, I think, since they're not putting up replay. It's very hard to tell, isn't it? So no change in the lead group. Zuber, Carroll, Glock, Piquet in 4th. Now after the Hungaroring, where he went from 8th to 1st in 6 laps, you'd think it should be a breeze here, but it is dry and not wet here in Turkey. Porchero in the pits, the Campos Racing team. Now looking for a Birmingham screwdriver to sort out the computer with.
My patience is running out.
If you can't fix it with a hammer, it really is broken. Some good little battles going out on track. I'd like to be able to tell you about a few more of them, particularly with regard to how close Piquet is. This is Hiroki Yoshimoto and Frank Pereira. Damned with, oh my goodness me, is that Negrão? Yes. I was going to say thank goodness, and not for him obviously, but Piquet. So Piquet picking up 1 place, and
it's been done by Glock, isn't it?
Yes, Glock was ahead of him anyway, because he got past Negrão, but Glock now 3rd, and Hamilton behind Frank Pereira and around the outside of these two.
Get hard on the power, nice and early. Here
so
we
this
go.
is Yoshimoto and Pereira. Oh, Pereira giving him a big squeeze.
That's naughty.
Well, there's still lots of room. He was just defending, wasn't he? I mean, it's not like he had a big chop.
He's come back and done him.
Yeah. Oh, and he's between Pereira and Monfordini. Pereira and Monfordini. That's really not a nice place to be,
sandwich.
is it? Yes.
He's going to do it again.
He is. Well, do you know what? I mean, he's giving him just enough room to keep a car in. Yeah, enough to survive.
Good move.
But
that's pretty brave stuff.
So I'm okay with that, actually.
Yeah, that was not too bad. The first one on the pit straight was a little bit naughty, but just the right side of naughty, I think. Not too random. It was. I mean, he didn't whiz over. He just came across. I'm coming. If you're going to stay there, you're going to have to really suck it up. And he did. So good job again by Lewis Hamilton. No problem at all with his overtaking. A shame though that that spin earlier on dropped him right down the order. So Hernandez, Prema in 8th place and 7th place respectively as Hamilton picks up another position. See, now this is almost like the race leader working his way through the back markers, isn't it? But this is really, really important stuff, and until we see page 2 of the graphics, we're not going to know exactly where he's got to. It is, and I think this kind of situation is one that really allows Lewis to just drive with his natural flair, if you like. I mean, I think over the last couple of race meetings, perhaps because of the situation with the pressure of the championship, he's been a bit constrained, restrained. Well, you're right. Suddenly, that you just got to go for it, and I think we're seeing him for what he is now, which is a real good racer. Exactly. Then everything to lose. Now nothing to lose, and he's 10th. We just saw Prema going through shot, and a car between the two of them. Prema is 8th, so Hamilton is 10th. 4 cars from the A point, 4 cars from any points at the moment. Now, if we had a timing screen as well, we could probably bring you up to date with exactly who might or might not have the fastest lap. There you are, I had confirmation of that. Jose Maria Lopez right behind Alexandre Prema. But I'm afraid I don't think Hamilton will be handed any extra positions by Prema, because that hasn't happened so far this season, despite the fact that Prema has not really been in with much of a championship chance. Here we go with Hamilton. Look at the speed of approach here. There, isn't it? Absolutely flying up the inside, almost taking the line as if there's no one else there, without suggesting that he's ignoring the car. But goodness me, stressful stuff. I'd like to see exactly how calm his dad is at the moment, because he's normally a paragon of sang-froid, isn't he? But now, you're absolutely right. I mean, in the last few races, he's been the man in the lead, being caught. But again, you see, look at Piquet, pressure off Piquet. Good move. Hamilton's not scoring, so Piquet can afford to take a risk or two. And there was contact there as well with Timo Glock as he squeezed through in the back at him. Well, this is Glock, the street fighter. Yeah, Glock's every right to do that, you know. Yeah, absolutely. He's scrapping for points as well. And here comes De Grassi, a man who's been a year behind Piquet on his trip through Europe. Piquet's ended up losing a place rather than gaining one. This is frustrating for him. Well, again, he's still scoring points and Hamilton's still scoring none, so he's got that slight margin. So he's down now to 5th position across the line. Lapierre in 6th spot, the final point. Hernandez in 7th. 8th is Prema, 9th is Lopez, and 10th is Hamilton. Now, Hamilton looked to be about 5 or 6 seconds behind Prema stroke Lopez, so it'll take him 2 or 3 laps to catch them. But luckily, this is a fast, open circuit with lots of overtaking opportunities, and there's still a lot of laps left. So, plus one of those drivers is also a teammate, isn't he? So whether he'll help. I mean, certainly in the press conference yesterday, Prema indicated he didn't fight Lewis too hard because of the situation. Whether that was just niceties or whether he meant that, I don't know. But well, I think now it's coming down to it. You know, halfway through the season, even if the guy in front of you is, or the guy, your teammate, has got a bigger point score. Now we're at 2 races from the end of the championship. You know, penultimate race weekend. I think any racing driver with any ounce of moral fibre would allow it to go. And so, you know, come on. You know, what's the difference for him? 3rd or 4th in the points doesn't, you know. Yeah, I mean, Prema's still fighting for 3rd place in the championship, which it counts for something. So
True, but he's
his
come.
Glock.
Yeah, well,
that's what we're fighting with. So.
Yeah, so exactly, and Glock is ahead of him. So
yeah.
Yes, that.
I mean, my personal opinion as a driver was okay, fine. You're going for the championship, fine, but don't expect me to roll over and get out your way. You know, you got to earn your right to pass somebody.
Well, I have to say, the way he's been scything past people at the moment, I don't think Hamilton will particularly make too much of a fist of it. Good race for the lead, though. Let's turn our attentions back to that, because Andrea Zuber has got Adam Carroll all over him. Adam Carroll was saying that after yesterday's race, during Formula 1 qualifying, the air temperature was hovering around 30 degrees, but by the time the GP2 cars left the grid, it had soared to just over 40 degrees. So no wonder the hard Bridgestone tyre was going off relatively quickly after the pit stops. We saw first 3 or 4 laps setting some very quick times. And there is Piquet having a go at Di Grassi again.
Yes, the replay, I think, isn't it, of actually getting past. Yep.
And I think that one sticks.
And we have timing screen, which is good.
And we have Jason Hinchy in 17th place, I can tell you. Whoops, Daisy. That was lots of handfuls of opposite. What I was going to say what in trade terms is known as a tank slapper, but in fact that's known as a punt from Jimmy Bruni, who really ought to be a little bit more surgically precise than that. And his teammate Andrea Zuber leading this race. Now this would be a big milestone for Andrea Zuber, because he really looked very exciting at the beginning of the season with some very sharp runs, but so far has scored points just twice. So Zuber really could do with a big boost here to end his season and make him look like something special at the end of the year. And Michel Ammermuller could do with something big at Monza as well, because as we know, Red Bull aren't scared of cutting the odd driver. With Lewis Hamilton 10th place, he has now caught Jose Maria Lopez and his own teammate Alexandre Prémart, who is right in front. Now this is not for points, so he'll have to work his way not only past these, but also past Sergio Hernandez and Nicolas Lapierre to take points for 6th. Here he comes inside Lopez. He's just so late on the brakes, isn't he?
No fight at all. That was just easy for him. Almost like Lopez said, yeah, go on, after you.
Well, there you go.
Got Prémart after. Yeah.
Well,
which is what we half expected. That's what we were talking about before. As teammate, yeah, go on, after you.
Well, actually, it was a great place for Hamilton to catch them, because Prémart could move offline easily without allowing Lopez to slingshot up the inside, because they were going so slowly. Lopez had no chance of coming back for that. That was really good use of the mirrors by Prémart, because he saw what was happening. Hamilton coming down inside, Lopez being blocked. Oh, right, I'll get out of the way now immediately, and I can hold Lopez off again.
Yeah. No, it was good to see, actually. I mean, they've had some friction this year at points, Prémart and Hamilton, but clearly we saw in the post-race thing yesterday, they looked pretty happy together, and clearly that sort of thing there indicates that there's no problems between them.
Well, I think at this level you have to be grown-ups a bit.
Yeah, you do. I mean, it's unusual because for the most part, drivers raise their own money. In F1, you're employed, you know, and therefore you're told what to do by your employers. This level here,
part of the F1 grid, you're employed.
Yeah, the top sort of 2/3 you are. Yeah. So therefore you do as you're told. Whereas this level here, you tend to, although you're in the same team, you're very much separate entities. So it's quite unusual to see at this level.
Well, it is very much the me stage, because you have to make a name for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, fair enough, the team wins the championship, but really, who cares if you don't?
Pantona booking an early flight home, I think.
Yeah. Not a good race weekend for him. Oh, Piquet doing his best to get by Timo Glock, but also, well, we saw this before in Hockenheim, where some demon late braking manoeuvres from Piquet flat spotted his tyres to such an extent that in fact he had a delamination and then a tyre explosion at the end of the race.
Should get a decent slipstream here.
And the Hamilton camp will be praying desperately for lots more lockups.
Oh, that's brave. No.
Now you see, this is vintage Glock. After watching some of his champ car races last year, he just loves to roll his sleeves up and get into it.
Yeah, well, he's scrapping for 3rd place in the championship with Prémart, isn't he? So he needs every point he can as well.
Well, plus, you know, a position on the podium, plus
Hamilton up to 7th.
Yeah, he just loves to race. One more place then, and he'll be in the points.
Yeah.
How far away is Nicolas Lapierre?
About 2.5 seconds up the road, Lapierre.
Superb.
So the second is Di Grassi. and a further 2 seconds is Piquet, so not that far away.
Wow. So he's 9.2 off the lead, but Piquet is 3.4 off the lead. 1:38.6 Piquet's last lap. Hamilton 1:37.9. So Piquet is 0.1 behind Timo Glock across the line, and that's why Piquet is going slower, because he is battling with Timo Glock, and they are just...
I mean, they've both been scrapping, haven't they? But Piquet's been stuck in behind Glock, where he just swapping places with Glock.
Hamilton's got visual of Piquet now, particularly if Piquet's going to leave big puffs of smoke behind him. This is a replay from that monster moment. See how dirty the dirty line is. Well, there is Prema, just a shade further back. And that's our lead battle. Glock in third, Piquet in fourth, Di Grassi with them in fifth, Lapierre in sixth, and Glock is, well, not exactly secretly, but unwittingly helping Hamilton no end here.
Meanwhile, at the front, Zuber and Carroll are actually running very close. Carroll's actually half a second behind Zuber at the front, with a 3.5 second gap to Glock.
Well, Adam Carroll could really do with this as well to help his season. Winless so far. One podium, so he could really do with a big score. Either way, I think it'll be a pretty well-received win if either of these guys takes it, and perhaps the racing engineering team could really do with that help as well at the moment. They just need a little bit of something from somewhere, because like DPR, they seem to have had a bit of a struggle with luck all year long.
Yes, I mean, Carroll has proved last year what a good racer he is. This year, moving to racing engineering, hasn't had the same good fortune.
Well, I think part of last year was that he was able to take advantage of a lot of varying, vague conditions. This year, the cars are more reliable, everybody's got much more of a handle on the setup and so on, and so much more of it now is the engineering, and there's not quite so much that the driver can do to affect that. You know, if the team, I mean, we've seen it with drivers changing teams and suddenly looking like a completely different person halfway through the season.
Yeah, Glock being the case in point. Yeah, exactly right.
So, I mean, Adam, certainly I don't think he's forgotten how to race.
The bodywork just flew off.
Yeah, that's one of the little barge balls, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, and here comes Hamilton.
Just done Lapierre to sixth. He's in the points.
Well, that's great progress. Right in front of him, you saw Lucas Di Grassi. And Di Grassi, after holding off Piquet earlier on, has just faded a little. Zuber with the biggest lead we've seen for a while. Wonder if Adam is now tiring of sitting right on his gearbox and just dropping back for a few laps. So completed 13 of 23. Replay with Hamilton. And again, it looks like he's got brakes and the other cars haven't. I mean, we saw it when he was right alongside Lopez earlier on. Lopez just suddenly shot backwards out of the camera view, and that was him hitting the brakes.
They also don't seem to have mirrors, do they? Because they don't see him coming almost.
Well, they do, but it's a damn wide approach down to that corner, and I guess they think they can't
hard for him. You have to make it hard for him.
The part of the problem here is exactly why it's a good track for overtaking and a great track to watch these guys race, is that there are long straights leading up to very hard braking areas and sharp corners. So from quite a way back, you can get a really substantial tow off these cars, clearly.
Hamilton's flying, and the next 37.3 for Hamilton. The next fastest lap that lap was 38.5.
And that is Di Grassi done and dusted. So Hamilton up to fifth, Piquet currently fourth.
Here we go. It's back on again. He's got visual contact as well, you see. Fantastic.
I don't know who's writing this stuff, but it's a real page turner, isn't it? Piquet bottled up behind Glock, and Hamilton a second and a half behind him on the road and going a second a lap quicker, darn nearly.
Piquet really needs to get a move on now, doesn't he?
I'm not sure that Piquet's got what it needs to get a move on under him, actually.
We've seen what he's got. It's not quite enough to get past Glock, is it?
I wonder whether they've made adjustments to the car based on yesterday and finding that at 10 in the morning the temperatures aren't in the 40s like they were at 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, these harder compound tyres that they're using this weekend, I mean, they really had to be worked quite hard to get a good temperature, which obviously in an afternoon comes easier than it does in the morning time when it's much cooler. Well,
the other thing, of course, is that with such a big tow being given away, maybe the ART team and Hamilton have gone for a slightly trimmed out speed specification, you know, gone the sort of Monza route and really backed off the wing a bit and assumed, well, we're going to be starting 7th, we're going to need to pick up some tows.
Yeah, possibly. It's a difficult one. I mean, what you don't want to do is risk, what is actually a decent setup. Trying something you haven't tested before is always a risk, and when you've got your championship contender next to you, you kind of go a bit conservative, really. Usually that's I think what we're seeing here, the speed reason, is just Hamilton has just gone for it, absolutely caning it.
Yeah, freed of any shackles of throwing away points by taking chancing manoeuvres. I have to say, not that too many of them have been that chancy. Piquet seems to put himself in a lot more difficulty, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's dropped right back off of Glock.
Inside the final 10 then, Zuber leading Carroll by 1 second across the line last time. Timo Glock 2.7 behind that battle, and Piquet, well, at the line he was only half a second behind Glock, but now he's looking in the mirrors. He's not looking in front of him. He is just thinking about what's coming up hard and fast from behind.
Yeah, he's gone defensive, isn't he? You can see it straight away. The body language of Piquet and Hamilton is interesting. Hamilton's a man on a mission. Piquet's really just looking in the mirrors, not bothered about Glock at all now.
Well, Piquet has finally clawed himself back into a position where he can almost reach out and touch this trophy and this championship, and where he's really been taken seriously, and suddenly now all the pressure is on him. Hamilton's in the points where he wasn't expecting to be on lap 2, and he's done all that he can do. He's right behind Piquet. You know, now if he gets by, fantastic. If he spins off and doesn't, it's only where he was at the beginning of the race.
Yeah, it's amazing how fine the line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Start of the weekend, Hamilton was the man under pressure.
Now, having caught everybody so far, Hamilton must surely believe, even with 7 laps remaining after this, that actually he's got a chance of finishing on the podium, and he's definitely got a chance of staying ahead of Piquet. Yeah,
he just needs to tread carefully, isn't he? If he's going to get past Piquet, he's got to make sure it's clean without...
Look at the time on the last lap, though, Gareth. 1:39.0 for Piquet, 1:37.7 for Hamilton, 1.3 seconds quicker to catch Nelson, and shut down the entire gap in a single lap.
Yep. Well, you can see straight away, I mean, with every lap, Piquet was nibbling at Glock, wasn't he? Now, forget it, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Just look after the tyres, take it easy, don't risk anything, just keep Hamilton behind. Keep him at arm's length.
Glock's podium is safe from Piquet, that's for sure. Here we go, yeah, just look at him.
Oh,
the toe, that's great stuff!
Good move. Great move.
That is my favourite part of this track. In almost anything, you just get such a big toe up the hill and down the other side, and it's just a great overtaking manoeuvre.
We've seen time and again this year, the ART car is so good on the brakes, isn't it?
Phenomenal, isn't it?
Just fantastic. Just lets him come from so far back and brake so late.
That's just great footage again.
Piquet kind of thought about closing the door, but it was just all too late, wasn't it? Hamilton was past.
Yeah. I don't think he's had somebody come out behind him like that and didn't perhaps realise just what a toe he was giving away, because when you're coming up the hill you don't see it. When the guy behind you comes over the brow and comes down the hill as well, he is really pulling you in hand over fist. Well, yeah, Glock's podium no longer looking safe at all. As I said, safe from Piquet, but now that Hamilton's by, I tell you, Adam Carroll and Andreas Zuber better watch out as well. 6.5 laps. I think he's got every chance of winning this.
You see again just the replay, just a fantastic toe. Again, Piquet doesn't really, until the very last second, doesn't make a move to defend it at all.
Barely a car's width offline, Piquet. And Hamilton was already fully alongside. Piquet was just looking at crashing there if he forced that any further, and he knew it too.
Pretty pleased with that.
I tell you what, they've started breathing again. But you know, for Piquet, it's not a nightmare. The nightmare would have been contact earlier on with, oh my goodness me, he's inside for third.
Glock going to come back at him?
Yes, of course he is. Of course he is. Now, this is danger for Hamilton, though.
Yeah.
Glock's got everything to gain and nothing to lose.
Piquet should be closer, really, to try and pick up some pieces if there is contact.
Glock,
that's going to beat sights. Wow, he's done him.
Balls of steel, this boy. In fact, both. Again, you know, a big pressure move from Glock. You can just imagine what the Formula One press room is like, can't you? Every single man stood on his feet going, are you seeing this?
Glock's come back at him again.
Yes, and Piquet's right in there as well, and that's contact.
Yeah, Piquet's done him. Oh! Exactly, that's where Piquet should have been. Just in case there was contact, pick up the pieces. Now Lewis has got to do it all again.
And they've got 2 more races at Monza as well to sort this out. Piquet suddenly has woken up. Glock is in danger of running out of tyre, I think, as is Piquet at this stage. This is for 3rd. And the chance to go to Monza with the points lead, perhaps, for Lewis Hamilton. Five laps after this, Timo Glock in 3rd, Nelson Piquet back up to 4th, Lewis Hamilton in 5th, Andreas Zuber leading by 1.2 across the line from Adam Carroll. Looks as though Zuber has just got a little in hand over the Ulsterman.
Hamilton's got a good toe again there, Martin.
Great toe, but Piquet's not asleep.
Piquet's got it covered this time. He's around the outside.
It's the S's of Snetterton. He's going to do Piquet on the outside and cut back.
Right-hander.
Yes,
now it's
and he's pushing Zuber. Did you see Zuber's tyres spin up as he got under the gearbox? Glock, rather. I'm sorry, yes. Fantastic, but that makes him so slow. Here comes Piquet. Now, how far up to the pit wall is Lewis going to squeeze him when he comes? Because he will come. He doesn't need to. Piquet's doing the outside line like the Cenareses at Brazil. Fantastic.
Well, this is exactly what we hoped for, wasn't it? A good direct scrap between the two of them.
Car makes the early morning start and the drive in all the more worthwhile, doesn't it?
Definitely. But just between the two of them, just Hamilton looks hungry, doesn't he? He looks more prepared for a fight.
Look at that. Imagine the filth that was on his tyres from that inside line when he came down here. He'd only partly cleaned it, getting past the Durango car earlier on.
And respect to Glock as well. I mean, he was giving it plenty, wasn't he? Fair, all fair, just leaving enough room.
They must have been about 6 inches apart there, at least. Oh yeah, plenty. That's perfect.
That's
absolutely.
Piquet jumped past,
And Piquet was a little unlucky not to get past Glock as well there, but this is at the end of the previous lap, or the last lap to the one they're on now. And again, just lifting Glock's rear wheels momentarily off that's where the puff of smoke came from. Glock's wheels were spinning.
Piquet's dropped away already, isn't he?
Yeah. And again, suddenly De Grassi's going, ooh, excellent, here's a place possibly. And Hamilton all over Timo Glock once more. Well, if he knows nothing else, Lewis Hamilton, he knows that Glock is not going to roll over just because he's the championship leader.
Just got crossed up there, Hamilton.
How hard was he on the throttle there? Goodness, he was on early. And that halves the gap between him and Piquet, but Piquet's not close enough to do anything at the end of the straight.
No, it just gives Glock a quick breather, I think. Momentary rest.
Yeah. Still, Adam Carroll 1.2 behind Andreas Zuber for the lead of the race. Anyone breathing? Not on that pit wall, or on that one either. Well, it's how disheartening must this be actually for Adam Carroll and Andreas Zuber's teams and themselves respectively, because they're having a good little battle for the race lead. They're first and second, and nobody's seeing anything of it, and actually with due cause, because this isn't just a tactical battle. This is all arms and elbows. This is full contact wrestling going on for third place.
This is what racing's about. This is what Formula One should be. They should look at this and be embarrassed.
Yes. Absolutely, they should hang their heads in shame, I'm afraid. Every time they're given the opportunity to try and make a difference, nobody actually does anything too much about it. Here he comes in again, from a long way back.
Yeah, I saw an article in one of the car magazines, not a motorsport magazine, saying that the reason GP2 is great is because it's full of hungry drivers. Well, I disagree. I mean, 3,000 was full of hungry drivers, and the racing was generally pretty dull. Here comes Hamilton again with a great toe on Glock. Look at the speed he's carrying compared to Glock. Around the outside, no, Glock's having none of it.
Well, Glock was glued to the inside line there, all the way up the hill and down the other side. He knew exactly what was going on.
Oh, he's left a big gap there. Glock ran wide to try and make sure he got a good run of the pit straight.
Look, he's aiming at the apex now. from quarter of a mile away, he's aiming for the apex in the first turn.
Glock just made a tactical error there, just trying to make sure he got loads of revs onto the front straight. He just ran slightly too wide. Lewis got underneath him, forced Glock to miss the apex and made him slow onto the front straight.
Well, that's what Lewis was looking for the last time we saw him have that big snap sideways under full power. And there he got the drive. You see, now that's the great thing. It's not just great under braking. This thing's got great traction as well.
It has. I mean, he was helped there by Glock. Just getting it wrong. Just chose the wrong route, really, Glock.
Yeah.
He just went the wrong way, unfortunately, but great stuff, great racing. But yeah, the reason for GP2 is not because it's full of hungry drivers. 3000 was full of hungry drivers, and the racing was pretty poor. They've just got a great technical setup on these things. They've got the balance right between downforce, grip, power. Everyth's right as it should be.
It's got some
traction control.
Exactly. It's got some of the things that you'll need to learn about to get into Formula One, namely flippy flappy paddle shift and gear changes. As you can see there, Lewis Hamilton with his fingers changing gear all the way through.
Block here takes an extreme wide line, really, and just didn't really allow for Lewis being quite so close, I don't think.
A bit too much Mallory Park hairpin there, and not enough defence. But then he knew what a toe he'd given away on the straight, and he could think exactly the same thing was going to happen. Sort of devil in the deep blue sea when the guy coming up behind us got so much speed. Yes!
Yeah, because if Glock had gone tighter there, then Hamilton would have gone wide and got a better run of the straight and would have been towing him anyway. So, it's difficult for Glock to defend that one.
Yes, absolutely. Zuber now has just stepped up into overdrive, and he's pulled away 1.4 seconds in the last 2 laps over Adam Carroll, and Carroll now really has to hang on to second place. I don't think he'll be caught by Hamilton. Right.
No, there's a 3-second gap. Yeah, there's a 3-second gap between the two. So in 1 3/4 laps, even Hamilton might find that difficult.
But he's 1.3 seconds quicker on the last lap, and that included battling with Zuber through the S's.
He'll be catching him as they enter the last couple of corners, I think, of the race,
which might make for some real drama. He might yet make it up into second. He might just balk at that final, push of the luck too far. But what a race these guys have produced for us. Again, phenomenal action. And for Glock, actually, it's a shame because he deserves to be on the podium after some great racing.
3 of them do, don't they? Yeah, that was really classic stuff.
Well, and again, full marks out front for Andrea Zuber. Made the best of his 7th place in race 1, converted to 2nd in the grid in race 2, and great starting. Took the lead in the first corner and hasn't seen anybody else apart from Adam Carroll in his mirrors. And here he comes with a lap to go after this, and he's just streaking away now. Zuber 1:38.0 on the last lap. Nothing like as quick as Hamilton, 1:37.6.
Yeah, it's more Carroll's times have fallen away, really. He's barely in the 38s. He's sort of 38.9.
So last lap, Andrea Zuber on target to win for Trident. Take his first win in the GP2 series. Adam Carroll in 2nd place, and this will make it a good race weekend for him.
Hamilton 36.8 against Carroll's 38.6, and almost 2 seconds a lap quicker then.
And 1.4 seconds behind him across the line. He might just do him on this last lap.
I think I underestimated just how fast Hamilton's going, I think.
Hamilton is going phenomenally quickly. A little further back, Sergio Hernandez is in 10th, Jose Maria Lopez behind him. And if the director's looking around for some action, let's get back to our championship leader, I think, on the last lap, instead of following some rather random nonsense. Lopez 11th, 5 places out of the points, really who cares? Let's see Hamilton catching 2nd place man Adam Carroll. The Englishman versus the Ulsterman. Here we go.
Caught him by 4/10 in the first sector.
And fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, that was the last lap, yeah.
Another critical point there. Every single one of these extras will be very, very important. Now then, this is where he's set up for the long tow down to the final couple of corners. Is he close enough? Through this fast right-hander over the hill into the braking area at the other side. I think he might be. Here he comes. Here he comes. What's Adam Carroll got under braking? Not enough, no.
Dear.
Well, you saw Adam move onto the racing line. He knew the game was up.
Formality. Well, Hamilton did the fastest ever middle sector of the race there.
Phenomenal. Andrea Zuber from 2nd on the grid claims a momentous first GP2 win for himself. A great result, but what a race. That is the performance of the championship from Lewis Hamilton. What a stunning, stunning race. All right, dropped the ball prodigiously with a big spin on lap 2 that put him way down the order to, I don't know, the mid-teens, but...
He's pumped up there, isn't he?
Oh my goodness.
Quite rightly too.
He won't be able to sleep tomorrow night. Never mind tonight.
Great performance, and fastest lap again on the last lap, just to make sure.
So just a giant effort from Lewis Hamilton there. Andrea Zuber gets top points, but I'm surprised his dad hasn't turned blue. He must have been not breathing for several laps back there. What a great performance from Lewis Hamilton, and if there's not a Formula One contract on his desk by the end of the season, then well, we know people in Formula One need their heads sorting out, but for goodness sake, I can't believe it.
I think what he needs to do now really is bottle that feeling he's got at the moment. That just the free driving he was showing there, you know.
Yeah.
Forget the pressure. I know it's easier said than done. Just forget the championship. Just drive as you can do. Just do that, and you'll have no problem.
I think that's exactly what they have to do. Both of them, he and Piquet both, when they get to Monza, the gap will be close enough that you can just say, let's pretend the championship's over. Let's just have two great races.
That's right.
Now, of course, if you could compartmentalize your brain like that, that would be phenomenal, and that would be...
Oh, it's impossible to do, but if you could, then that would be the key, you know, really would.
So from wherever far back he came into second place, Lewis Hamilton, and Zuber wins our sprint race here in Turkey. But without doubt, the grandstanding performance from Lewis Hamilton will be talked about certainly until the final race weekend in Monza a fortnight from now. And Nelson Piquet Jr., well, fifth place is not a bad little points haul, but unfortunately for him, the 6-point gap that he'd narrowed it down to between himself and Hamilton after race one here has extended once more in the Englishman's favour.
Yeah, I'll make it 10-point gap now, back out to 10 points.
Yes, I think you may well be right. I'm certainly not going to try and think it, because my mental arithmetic isn't worth the paper it's written on, as anybody knows. So I'll go with that.